today we're talking about two animated shows. Both of them, you could say iconic, one more so than the other. With that being said, who do you think the GOAT of voice acting is in of the
Oh
90s?
wow. I'm gonna say
Happened in the 90s.
TikTok, do better. Do better, TikTok, because we want to put you in the same vein of Facebook and Instagram and Twitch. But no, we have to do things separately for you because you're a Chinese app. Just because of that. Like, that's how it was explained to me. Oh, they don't do it like that because they're a Chinese app. Like, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
yeah.
Because
And
they're a
I love that
Chinese app.
reference, Steve. Like, nice pull. I forgot about that saying.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I did that, but thank you.
That's where the magic comes from, Steve. That just comes out
From
of
China?
nowhere. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um yeah, I don't know. I feel like I didn't wasn't I guess you're right. It is a Chinese app and it's not owned by one of the big boys. So I thought for some reason it was like a Facebook integration thing now, and
Yeah.
but no, no. And we're sitting here high and dry looking like idiots right now, Steve.
Yeah. I hope you heard that, TikTok. Thank you so much for making our lives hard, our streaming hard. We do this for you.
You're not making us hard. You're making me soft right now with this lack of fucking integration. Let's have a nice technical menage,
Did you
you
hear that?
know?
You're making Matt soft.
Yeah. You're just mushing it at this point. So get it together, TikTok.
He's going to need some blue chew just to make it through this recording. Thank you, TikTok.
And Blue Chew, hit us up because you know what? Love a sponsorship. Uh,
Is Blue Chew in town? Call me. But
why
hey,
didn't they
man.
call me?
So, like, today we're talking about two animated shows. Both of them, you could say iconic, one more so than the other. With that being said, who do you think the GOAT of voice acting is in of the
Oh
90s?
wow. I'm gonna say the goat of voice acting. I'm gonna say Maurice LaMarche.
Oh,
He's kind of a
okay.
deep cut, but he did a lot of Animaniac stuff. He was always like Orson Welles' voice. I'm pretty sure he was Inspector Gadget at one point too. He was just sort
He,
of like
he
a mercenary.
yeah, he took over after Don Adams
Yeah.
from Get Smart. Man, I was not expecting that. Maurice LaMarche definitely deserves his flowers. He was also involved with The Critic. He did some work with them
Yeah.
too.
I mean, he was prolific. I will say one other one just because he's a legend as an actor and a voice actor, but Mark Hamill, I feel like
Mm.
you got to cement him in, even if just only because of the Joker. He did a lot of other stuff, but the Joker for sure in Batman the Animated Series, that's just like a legacy at this point.
Yeah, you got to give him his props too, man. I'm surprised you didn't say Billy West. His work with Howard, that was always entertaining. Then, of course, he's Fry. He was, I think he did some Rocko stuff.
I mean, he's as prolific as anybody that we just maybe even more so, especially because of the Howard stuff. Like you actually knew what he looked like. I feel like some of these, I mean, Mark Hamill, you know what he looks like because of Star Wars, but like most of the people, like Maurice LaMarche, you would know, you could just walk by that guy and probably not know who he was unless you were really in the know.
Yeah. And we can't leave out Frank Welker, man. Frankie Welker's, he was attached to everything animated, just about.
So what's that guy named? I think he had like some kind of a scandal. Jim Cummings. I think he was like
Yeah.
Darkwing Duck and a bunch of other people. He
Winnie the
was,
Pooh.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of guys, man. I mean, there's a lot of prolific night, and I feel like probably the ones that were doing it then are still doing it now. Like you don't go anywhere. That's one of the positives of being a voice actor. The When you start getting old and this starts going, as long as the pipes are still good, you're good to go.
Yeah, and they take all the jobs, Matt. They take all the jobs still. Like you said, they were getting all the jobs in the 90s, and the people who grew up listening to them, watching their work, now they're adults and they're trying to get into that, but no. Thank you, Billy West and Frank Welker and Jim Cummings. Ain't you got
Yeah.
a scandal? Give me one of your jobs.
Well, and then as soon as somebody does come up that's new, like a Seth MacFarlane or like an H. John Benjamin, then they're the voice of everything, or they just are like the one thing, Bob's Burgers has been on forever. I mean, Seth MacFarlane has like 5 cartoons at this point or shows. So I don't know, Steve. Once you pierce the bubble and get inside, it's really hard to get those guys out. I think it's because it does not depend on your looks. I mean, you can be ugly as shit, and as long as you sound good and can do that, I
Yeah.
mean, you're set. I feel like I could do a couple of things, but there's people that could just do crazy like impersonations and stuff that I just can't use my voice like that. It's very cool.
I wish. Dana Carvey, I mean, for somebody who can do a lot of impressions, he really hasn't done a lot of voice acting. I mean, I guess just not his interest, I guess.
I think it's just like especially for him. One, he was a stand-up, so anything that he could do would probably just go into the act. And two, I mean, at some point he became so successful. Like, I hope the people that we like would get to a point where they get so successful. Like, you know what? I don't need to do this anymore. I just want to enjoy my life. I don't think that happens, but Dana had some better stuff to do. Maybe they're going to do a Wayne's World 3. I don't know. He was just waiting around.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that him and Mike Myers are getting along now, so there's hope. They're still here.
I'll watch. I mean, I'm a sucker, Steve. If I have to go see it if it's a reboot, just because I want to know I hate it for a good reason or that it's good. It just you have to see for yourself. So Wayne's World 3, I'm all about it. Throw a church lady movie out. I'll go see it. Fuck it. We haven't seen her in a while. That might be nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do a Pat movie, Stuart Smalley movie.
Yeah, those are two that just swing and a miss. There's just nothing to be had. Like some ideas, it's like, yeah, this would be good. I think we can come up with a story for a movie, and then like, It's Pat the movie came out. I was like, guys, this is we got nothing here. This joke can only happen so many times.
Of all the recurring skits, you picked the bottom of the barrel. Night at the Roxbury was better than that.
Oh, I love that movie. You didn't like Night at the Roxbury?
I did. I mean, but I'm just saying, like, it was kind of stupid, but it was better than
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're working with a skit that has basically no dialogue. It's just that like physical comedy. So the fact that they got an hour and a half movie out of it is amazing, and it's pretty funny. But yeah,
grab my ass.
It's a club that's the outside of the club is actually the inside of the club, Steve. Colin Quinn's just getting shit on the whole movie, just getting bitched out. I love it.
Sir, he just said he's out of town and it's impossible for him to grab your ass.
Yeah, but the movie you name, like It's Pat, Stuart Smalley movie, and then that movie Superstar that they did with Molly Shannon. Those are the three that are at the bottom of my SNL movie list for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
They could have kept those, man. Yeah. Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Megadeth posters and your Mega Man tapes. Because every freaking night and every freaking day, I want to freak you, baby, in every freaking way. Every freaking day and every freaking night, I want to freak you, girl. Your body's so freaking tight. Yeah.
Gosh.
What must I say?
Gush. You hear that, Steve?
What must I do? What must I do to show how much I think about freaking you? Freaking.
TikTok is just moist right now, Steve.
Did you even hear that TikTok? Or do I need to download a special app so you can hear the audio? I oughta.
Kid, TikTok, get it together.
Hickory tickory tuck. Today, my friend, we're talking about all things July 18th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, Arachnophobia premieres in theaters. A new species of South American killer spider hitches a lift to a California town in a coffin and starts to breed, leaving a trail of deaths that puzzle and terrify young Dr. Ross Jennings, who is newly arrived in town with his family. Directed by Frank Marshall, starring Jeff Daniels, Julian Sands, Harley Jane Kozak, and John Goodman.
Terrified millions of people of spiders, me included, Steve.
Did you see it in the theaters?
No, this was like something I saw. Maybe my sister was watching it, and I watched it with her. It was like something I saw too early, you know. And
Yeah.
sometimes those horror movies would get in your head. You have to like sleep with a grandparent or something for a few nights. Grandma, where's the spiders at? But this movie's good. I think honestly, I haven't watched this recently. I should have watched it before the show, but it's a great horror movie. It's a great kind of comedy. I mean, there's
Okay.
comedic elements to it. And John Goodman, man, I feel like this was one of those first movies. You know, he's an actor. He's a successful actor, but this got him a lot of props. He's really good in this.
Yeah, and watching this man, it seemed like his role is basically Bill Murray's from Caddyshack, to the point where, like, he's so focused on this. He's obsessed with his occupation. Just like Bill Murray, he was all about killing a gopher, and he found out all these different tactics and how to, all these different maneuvers on how to get rid of the gopher. John Goodman, I feel he kind of stole the show outside of the spider. Um, but yeah, man, he was killing it in 1990. I think King Ralph came out this same year. And of course, Roseanne was going on at this time.
Yeah, but this movie, it was one of those horror movies that catches it gets a wave. You know, like I think there was a lot of people that love this. You know, it was
Yeah.
pretty successful. I don't know what the numbers are, but I think it did pretty. Yeah, I think it doubled its budget if I'm reading correctly, and the special effects too. That's the one thing I wanted to call out. Like they really pulled off this spider horror movie in a way that it looked crazy. I mean, millions of spiders, all different, like the little gags that they did with the webs, and just like as it keeps progressing, it gets worse and worse and stuff. Very cool.
Yeah. And I guess the guy from Mythbusters, this is some of his earliest work.
Oh
One of the guys
shit.
from Mythbusters,
Okay.
yeah, for the animatronic spider.
Very cool. I know those guys did Hollywood stuff. I didn't know it was like this kind of prolific stuff though. That's pretty big because it's the. I mean, it made the movie. If it sucked, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
You know. So shout out to the MythBusters guy. That's pretty cool.
Jamie Hyneman, whichever one that is.
I think
Uh,
that's like the less adult one. There's one that's like bald and wears like he has like the
he
little
looks weird.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they're both weirdos, but I think it's like the younger one.
Mm.
The one that's more excitable.
That looks safer around your pets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, the other one with the snidely mustache, yeah, man, don't have him around, Mason. But somebody who probably didn't watch Arachnophobia in 1990 is probably Mexican boxer Canelo Alvarez, born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico.
Under the mountains of Jalisco. I mean, this guy's a badass, Steve. This is like somebody from our generation. This guy's just been kicking ass his whole career, you know? And he's a ginger, and I feel like
Yeah, I was just
that's
gonna
something
say
that's really tough to do is to bring everybody loves him and he's handsome
everybody does love him.
and he's like an ass kicker. So I got nothing bad to say about Canelo Alvarez, Steve. The guy's a legend. And the hair color and everything about it, the whole vibe, I'm into it.
Widely respected, man. And did you know Canelo is Spanish for cinnamon?
I did not know that, but that's kind of funny. I think
Yeah,
I've met shows that his parents had a sense of humor a little bit, you know?
Yeah, they set his fate early, early, early. But that following year, 1991, Perry Farrell launches the first Lollapalooza tour as a farewell for his just dissolved band Jane's Addiction. And man, what a lineup they had!
I mean, this became a whole thing, Steve. Lollapalooza.
A whole thing. Like I always wanted to go to these, and just funds and what I was 8, 7, about to be 8 at the time. It just wasn't happening, man. The main stage they had Jane's Addiction, Living Color, 9 Inch Nails, Ice T and Body Count, the Rollins Band, Fishbone, and yeah, man, that was just the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jane's Addiction too, so it's cool that he did. I didn't know that it was created like as a farewell to the band. I, I just knew it was like a festival, but things like this terrify me. Going to a music festival sounds like a nightmare to me personally. So, um, I could take it or leave it. If somebody gives me a free ticket, I'd definitely show up. But otherwise, I don't know, Steve.
And that following year, Whitney Houston marries Bobby Brown, and memes, jokes, hilarity would ensue, but love ultimately at the same time.
Power couple,
They were.
you know, one of the first famous ones, but it just they weren't good for each other. Two
Before,
two
go ahead.
mega addictions turned into a perfect storm of cocaine and crack use, Steve. So
Yeah. And I mean, the narrative for the longest was that Bobby got her strung out, got it's like basically turned her out. Meanwhile, Whitney was doing that cocaine in the 80s.
that was the thing, Steve. I mean, what were you supposed to do in the 80s?
I believe the powder is the future. Teach it well and let it lead the way.
I just need a crack rock to make me happy at night as I smoke this pipe. Okay.
All right. Oh, look at this. Look at this guy. Wilding out. Nick Cannon, are you hearing this?
There you
Lil,
go.
Lil Flip,
Little flip.
we your new freestyle kings around here.
Yeah, hell yeah, Steve.
Man, shout out to Bobby and Whitney, man. The prince, the bad boy of R&B, if you will. But 1993 though, back to Lollapalooza and Rage Against the Machine, they have a side stage. How dare you put Rage Against the Machine on the side stage? But they were on that side stage and they had a message to share. This is very iconic and memorable because they duct taped their mouths and each of them had letters PMRC across their chests, mainly because radio banned their Killing in the Name of single.
These guys were, I mean, they would always take the opportunity if they were given some kind of a stage to do something. Wasn't one of them the guy that did that shit at the MTV Movie Awards too, where he was like
Yep.
swinging from the rafters and shit?
Why Tim K? That was the
Yeah.
basis. Yep. Yeah, man. They have a message whenever they have an opportunity, they'll jump on it, man. And I had to use the animated version because I don't know if I use the actual picture, which is available on Google. I don't know. I just for one, I don't like the idea of four guys butt naked behind me as my background. And also I, I don't want us to get banned like Killing in the Name of was.
I get you. I get that. And for some reason you would. I don't it's a protest thing. Screw it. Show it, TikTok or whoever's banning this stuff. Let them see everything. Let
Yeah.
have Steve have 3 or 4 naked guys behind him just ass out. But I think it was cool. I don't like the idea of seeing a bunch of naked dudes, but in this case, I'm all for it, Steve. And
Yeah.
the balls, literally. I couldn't do this.
Yeah. It takes some gravitas for sure. And somebody who probably didn't watch this Lollapalooza in 1993 is probably Sting, Vader, and British Bulldog because Beach Blast is airing from Mississippi Coast Coliseum in Biloxi, Mississippi. Why pick Mississippi of all places to have a pay per view? No one knows.
And why is it the one called Beach Blast? Because I don't know, think anybody's like, oh man, those Mississippi beaches.
Yeah. Biloxi, Mississippi, known for their famous beaches.
Yeah, right. Um, But this was still in the realm of time where this could be good, Steve. This isn't a late '90s WCW pay per view. So you tell, is this good? Is it bad? Is it mediocre?
For its early '90s WCW standards, it was decent.
Okay.
Yeah, you have Buff the Stuff. He's tag teaming with Two Cold Scorpio, and they win their match. And I love that finishing move of his, man. He does like a 450, and in this match, he just nails it. It's crispy.
Is he still like the business casual Buff Bagwell? Like the more Italian,
He's
just like,
Marcus.
okay,
He's actually
there we
Marcus
go.
still. He's
Okay.
still Marcus. He's fresh out of University of Georgia, and he hasn't figured it out yet. He hasn't gone like rogue Buff the Stuff yet. That's not until later. He's not even American male yet. That's not until later. But they do come out.
American male. God damn it.
We're the American males. American males. Yeah. And they were supposed to be faces. That makes you hate them. But I like how they came out to Two Cold Scorpio song because you just got to do the strut. Do da doom 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 doom. Do da doom 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 doom. Uh,
Do they play the video for that song behind him?
Unfortunately, they don't. No, man.
Dang. I mean, it's prolific. I mean, if he's a one hit wonder, again, that's a great one hit, Steve. It's a banger. And the video,
Brian Pillman and Steve Austin. You see some shades, some tinges of the early Stone Cold gimmick, man, because they're heels facing Arn Anderson and Paul Roma, and man, I just love seeing the greatness before someone breaks through. You know what I mean? Like before they figure it out.
well, it's like this, it's like you were in on it, you know? Like it is cool to see that. It's like when you see The Rock and he's Rocky Maivia and stuff. It's like, man, wait a
Yeah,
couple years, let him marinate. I'm
yeah,
with you. It is pretty cool. Unless it's Sting. I prefer my early Sting to my late Sting.
yeah. We need that Chris Mullen cut, man. But in 1995, Guru releases Guru's Jazzmatazz Volume 2, The New Reality. And we've talked about Volume 1 before. We've talked about Guru. And this is easy listening hip hop, man. He actually used live bands to put this together. And there were some tracks that I just added to the playlist before he even started rhyming because the
Hmm.
music was just so melodic, man.
How many volumes of Jazzmatazz was there?
That's a great question. I know there was Jazzmatazz 3 that happened in 2000, and he passed away in like 2010. So I don't know how much time he had to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Uh, may- there was Volume 4 in 2007.
And he stayed with the same sound. Was it always like this easy listening type music that you're talking about?
Well, when he's doing Gangstar, he's with DJ Premier. So DJ Premier, he's giving like he's got a signature like boom bapish kind of sound. So it's not the same as the Jazzmatazz. With Jazzmatazz, you're getting like straight up jazz with hip hop, you know, thrown into it. So I know his style is always the same. It's very he's the constant, and like listening to his stuff, like it's like a bunch of moving parts, specifically on Jazzmatazz. It's like a bunch of moving parts around his like steady, constant, like I hate to say monotone cadence, but it's smooth.
It's what works with the music. That's cool though. I like it sounds like Guru's more of like an actual artist and
For
musician
sure.
type person, you know. So I don't know. I haven't checked out as much as you have, but it is very cool that he had this like I mean it was decades long thing going on that seems to be pretty fucking prolific. So that's fucking dope.
Yeah. R.I.P. to the legend, man. And also in 1995, Monica releases her debut, Miss Thang. And this is the one with one of them days. Inside.
It's just one of them days. Yeah, dude. Monica. I forgot about Monica.
How dare you?
Sorry, Monica. But I mean, what other hits did she have? Because one of them days, That that's gonna get you near the Hall of Fame right there. Even I knew about one of them days.
Like This and Like That. That was another one. That was her second release, and then her third release, Why I Love You So Much. And you might have heard them. It just probably doesn't resonate at the moment. But the whole album, man, I added a couple there. I can't add too many because it's like it's a little girl uh, addressing her stance in life from from a 15-year-old girl's perspective. So I can't relate to you know
Put yourself there, Steve.
no, but Flowers though,
Oh
Flowers.
yeah.
She does have a collaboration with Ursher Raymond called "Let's Straighten It Out," and that is a remake of
Let's straighten it out.
Lattimore, the blues singer, and Usher and Monica, they nailed it, man. And then there's another remake called "Tell Me If You Still Care." If you still care, yeah, about me, yeah, we know. Uh, uh, yeah, I'm not about to go down that road, but I'm sure you've heard that one too, man.
Monica as sung by Steve G.
Yeah,
I'm into it, Steve. You need to release an album. Like one of those crooner albums where you're just covering the hits.
coming to a karaoke stage near you. But also in 1995, Jodeci releases the show, the after party in the hotel, and damn it, every freaking night and every freaking day. That is my
Dude,
shit.
these guys were just swimming in it, Steve. They even made it to Martin.
Casey, JoJo, Devontae.
So for no other reason, that's a prolific episode of that show and one of the best performances on that show. So we all love Jodeci, Steve, and the ladies. I mean, you throw this on. I mean, it's almost a foregone conclusion.
Quite possibly my favorite R&B group of all time. It's like Tony, and Jodeci, depending on which day you ask me. Like they're neck and neck.
Tony's. That's a good one, Steve. But also, does New Edition count? Because I feel like they got some fucking bangers too that you got to just throw in there.
I have to put them at 3 because I don't like what happened with Bobby.
Oh,
Bobby to me, he's the prince of R&B, and if they would have kept him around, and Johnny Gill, no slant towards Johnny Gill, he held it down. But man, I like my New Edition with Bobby.
Bobby's your tenderoni, Steve.
Sweet little girl.
Dude, that song is so good. I don't know why I work out to it so
Mm.
much. It's weird, but I still do.
Cause if you believe in all, you get a chance, girl. You find romance
And if you find a tenderoni that is right for
for
you,
you. And get attention.
make it,
Give it
yeah, give me
love,
your love, dude. I mean, you put
my
me on to
girl.
that too. I gotta thank you. I wasn't a huge New Edition fan until we did this show. So
Belongs to a woman. But 1996, though, Rocko's Modern Life is airing season 4, episode 9, Heffer in a Handbasket and Wallaby on Wheels. Heffer moves in with Rocko. And also, despite his vow to never do anything crazy to impress a woman, Rocko takes up roller skating after he becomes smitten with Sheila, the roller derby queen.
we've all been there. It's okay, Rocco. But this first one, Steve, it gets a little satanic, and I'm not sure. This almost has some glimpses of Ren and Stimpy in it. You know,
Very.
they're
And
dealing with the devil.
in Rocko, there's another guy that we failed to mention, Mr. Tom Kenny. I do believe he's the voice of SpongeBob, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
you're right about that.
Yeah.
And Rocco's Modern Life, it's like I don't know, it has this place. You know, it wasn't my favorite. It was kind of mid tier to me, but I tuned in
Yeah.
and I watch it and now it's funny, man. I like it does the little two-part episodes, and it's kind of dark. You know, they go there a little bit.
and I like that. You know, it's made for kids, but as an adult, it's one of those where you get the little innuendos, the inside jokes and whatnot, man. But this one is darker than usual.
Yeah, dude. And we start off, and it starts off in hell, and it's hot. And the devil himself is pissed the fuck off that, he's just not getting the souls he used to. And he's got like a right hand person named Peaches,
Yeah,
which is hilarious. And Peaches ain't doing his job, Steve, because it's been 600 years since they got some quality souls down there. And that's
six
just,
hundred years.
come
The
on.
last person you brought me was Thomas Jefferson.
Come on, man.
Oh,
And
he
the
was a
devil
hoe.
and the devil's like, look, dude, if you don't fucking do something, I'm gonna whip your tits. I'm gonna throw you down here in this pit, and I'm gonna do some damage. So, give me a soul, just one. Shouldn't be that hard. You got a fucking whole planet up there. We used to have people coming in, and Peaches figures out a plan, Steve, or has to figure out a plan just to get one soul. How hard could it be? You
Yeah,
know?
it's pretty difficult, man. But whip some tits. I'm adding that to the vocab, by the way. But do something or suffer the consequences. That's what Satan said. And we cut to Rocco's crib, and it's him, Heffer, and Philbert, and they're watching some game show. And Heffer, he's like, "Man, I would do anything to be on this game show because he's nailing every question, everything they're throwing out, he's catching."
White men can't jump, Steve. He's saying quince.
What is a quince?
Yeah, and he's literally says I'll do anything. And when he says that, that sets off hell alarms to Peaches that he's got some sap on the line that's ready to sell his soul. In this case, to get on just a game show, it's pretty easy. I mean, you could just just wait in line, Hef. You don't got to do all this. But Peaches gives Hef a call, fakes him out a little bit, and says he's representing a TV show. Do you want to be on it? And of course, Heffer wants to. And somehow the technology allows for the devil to put a contract through the phone. Hef
Mhm.
signs on the dotted line, and he sold his soul, Steve. We're there
He's so
already.
yeah, signed his contract through the phone, and this is years before Adobe Acrobat.
I mean, there ain't even a fax machine to be seen, but it's the devil. I'm sure there's some devil magic that they can do. And so now Hef's on his way to hell. Um, he should have listened to Philbert, who told him any idiot can be on a game show, and it's true. It's literally just go wait in line, guys. So anyone listening, just go to Van Nuys, California, wait in the line. You don't have to sell yourself or your soul. You'll be fine.
And he gets picked up in a limo, man, just getting a celebrity treatment. So once he gets to the game show, he's the only guest there. He's the only contestant. He's the only guest. So come on down, Heifer. He comes down, and they give him like bonus points off rip, man. Start off with 665 points, and you only need 666 to win.
Nice, nice devil. Wink.
Wink, wink.
So this is like the end of Wheel of Fortune, and he's got the letters give him the whole puzzle. It's a
Right.
foregone conclusion. But what Peaches didn't really think of is that Heifer's an idiot. He is an idiot,
Yeah.
and he can't do anything. This is like Celebrity Jeopardy on SNL. It's just bad answer after bad answer, and Peaches is getting pissed off. You know,
But he's working with them. You only need 1 point. He doesn't even get this right. He has like this meat product when grounded becomes an all-American burger. This fool says ham. But despite that, he gets sent to the next round. Now he's down 2 points, and they give him like a fake family of heifers, Heffy, Heffo, and Helpsa or something.
Hefeweizen. And yeah, just one blunder after another. But eventually, he says the right answer to what game are they finally does it happen on? The hundred
In
thousand
this
dollar pyramid? Is that what it
uh
was?
during the spin the wheel, and before the wheel even ends spinning, he's just like, big fat cow, big fat cow. It's not even done, you idiot. Big fat cow. Oh, that's the answer. Big fat cow. All right, congrats, you're going to hell.
And so now it starts coming. It's happening, Steve. He's gonna go to hell, but He's got a little backup in hell, Steven. This is where I thought this was hilarious. Peaches is sort of telling him what's going to happen. He signed this contract. It's $1 billion contract to go to hell. But then all of a sudden, Steve, this little old lady comes out of nowhere, and it's Heffer's grandmother who's in hell, which
Yeah.
I love. That's hilarious. And he's like, Grandma, Mom said you went to heaven. And she's like, she calls him an idiot, basically. And it's like, there's a lot you don't know, son. But her gripe is, it's so quiet in hell. She loves it, and she doesn't want it to be, messed up by having her grandson show up. So she basically forces strong arms Peaches into letting Heifer go back up to Earth and not live in the pits and fires of hell eternally. So that's pretty cool, Grandma. It's weird you're here.
Yeah.
Kind of like to know what Grandma did, Steve, but I like that. She's paying. It's paying off.
I don't think you want to know what she was doing in those speakeasies. And like, she basically gives Satan an ultimatum. If you don't get this fat fuck out of here, I'm going to give you a whole life of hoo ha.
You don't want that hoo ha, Steve. Not from his grandma. So Hef gets released from his contractual obligation and takes a fireball straight back up to Earth, which looks pretty cool. I thought that was pretty dope. That's a nice little bonus of going to hell. And but the devil's not pleased. He finds out that Peach has lost the soul, and it's time to get your tits slapped, Steve. Or in this case, we see that what hell actually is having your own cartoon show that people watch, and it's basically Peach's modern life. It's what we just saw, Steve. So I don't know. I don't. What is this a comment on, Steve? What are they trying to say here?
Yeah. Uh, Rocco's living in hell.
I think so. He's somebody's hell. So, um, Peaches, he's in a cartoon. He's getting his tits slapped. Rocko, Heffer, and Filbert, they're doing a circle jerk back at the house. It's pretty cool, Steve. So,
That was a hoot. And now Wallaby on Wheels is the next one. And Rocco's in a comic book store, kind of like Doug was. And he's reading Really, Really Big Man, which is a hilarious name for a comic book. And a girl comes in, her name is Sheila, and she's buying a issue of Roller Derby Women. And immediately Rocco is smitten.
heart, Steve. It's the cartoon reaction. And it's his Patty Mayonnaise. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Hot comic book squirrel chick. Hell yeah.
yeah.
And
Done
well, the
squirrel
prop,
style.
she's like, she's just real polite, real nice. Leaves, and Hef's there, and he's like, I can tell you're in love. You're smitten,
Yeah.
and he knows Squirrel Chick. He knows Sheila because Sheila, she's a mainstay over at the roller rink, and it turns out Hef, he's got his own little roll bounce situation happening down at the roller rink himself. So maybe he can introduce him.
A hidden talent of Heifers. Despite being an idiot, he's like a wonder kid when it comes to those roller rinks.
IQ doesn't have anything to do with your balance and coordination, Steve. So Heffer's just out at that roller rink, just swirling and twirling his way into some tail every weekend. But, Rocco's not as coordinated. He's not as good on skates, so he needs some help from his buddy. And Heffer's like, you know what, man? I'll take you down. I'll teach you how to skate. Can't be that hard.
But what he does is he hitches him up on a fishing ride. And Sheila apparently can't look behind her. And she's just like, wow, you know how to skate without even touching the floor.
You're smooth,
Yeah.
cold as ice, Rocco. And she's feeling him a little bit. There's a little vibe, Steve.
Yeah, you
You
should be able
know?
to bag her. She's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, hey. And watch yourself, Steve. That's Rocco's chick you're talking about. But, as they're doing their thing and they get done with their little, I forget what they call it, a Sadie Hawkins dance. It's a little male female thing going on. Then it's time for the main event, which is Heifer doing his thing. And he goes out there, Steve, and puts on a show. It's like fucking ice capades out there.
Yeah, at this roller dome, I think that's what they call it. He is king. They even go Saturday Night Fever with it.
What he is called the Roller King. I mean, everybody's
Yeah,
calling him that. The weird guy spraying the roller skates, he knows him. The DJ knows him. The DJ cues him up. It's like a Bernie Mac routine.
yeah,
Kick ass, and then it's just fucking. He's twirling. He's going. At some point, he starts doing some kind of like flash shit around the rink. The rink floor disappears and reveals a shark pit, and he's pulling a Fonzie. Steve, this guy, who knew?
yo, Heffer is that dude. He's got the juice now, and
Yeah, dude.
he's even signing autographs. So now Heffer, he goes up to the guy with the skates, and he's just like, "Man, what is the hardest trick you can pull off?" And he's like, "Well, probably the obstacle course." And the obstacle course, it is a menagerie of fuck shit.
I mean, this roller rink's insane. They have mechanisms to drop floors, to have sharks. This is an aerial obstacle course. I don't even know how you get up to it, but Rocco wants to get that tail literally, Steve. He wants Sheila the squirrel to see him and not see Heffer, the roller rink king. So he gets up there, and this is balls. This is what women do to men, Steve. This is it. Even as a kid, we knew this. And he
Yeah.
says, you know what? I can't do this, but I'm going to do this. And he pulls it off.
Yeah. He makes it through the finish line, and he even rolls out of the roller, what is it called? The roller dome.
I mean, he pulls a little. This is what happens, though. He basically pulls like that move you could do in Mario Kart where you miss a bunch of levels and you just land at the finish line. So he does that, but inconveniently, he can't stop. This was something that was my bane of existence as a roller skating fat kid was I couldn't stop. I could stay up and I could roller skate, but when it came time to stop, it was fall down, uh, skate into the little berm to the carpeted area and fall down, or just slam into the side.
Did
He
anybody see me?
yeah, he has none of those options. And unfortunately, the rink leads right onto a road that leads to the bottomless pit of the town. So danger ensues. Hef realizes his buddy's in danger, and the Roller King's on it, Steve. He's
And he
on it.
saves him. Yeah, he throws him into like a mattress store or something. But while doing that, Heifer now he needs to be saved because he's rolling in the streets, and apparently Earth is following him. It's rolling down the street and it's trying to like crush him.
It's like
It's about
Indiana
to crush him.
Jones, basically, when he's running away
Yeah.
from that rock. And I think Heifer gets knocked out, too. Like, he hits something, gets knocked silly, gets into this thing where he's going to the pit and being chased by Earth. So this gets weird and crazy. But then Rocco's like, I got to save my buddy. He can't skate, so he picks up a jackhammer from some construction dude. And the guy's like, do you know how to use that? And I guess he's an expert. He jackhammers his way down this hill, creates like a little lane for the earth ball to move into, like a bowling ball, and it fills the bottomless pit. Heifer just kind of hits that a little bit. He's fine. And Rocco saves the day. And then there's a bunch of lines that I don't recall the exact line, but Sheila the Squirrel's basically, there's some like sexual talk where she's like, ooh, I love the way you jackhammer. I didn't know you knew how to
Yeah.
use a jackhammer like that. It's like, let's get a
Oh,
little bit adult here. I'm
yeah.
into it.
You like jackhammering? Oh yeah. I'll show you how to jackhammer.
He does. He offers it, Steve. But he's a good friend. And Heifer is gonna be on Dancing with the Stars someday. So I think
On
that's what we
skates.
learned. Yeah.
He keeps it real with Sheila too. He tells her like, you know what, I don't know how to skate. But Sheila's like, but you have a good heart. You're kind. And I know what you do with that jackhammer.
And let me see what you can do with that jackhammer, son. She literally says that. So I thought that was pretty cool for Rocco. I mean, that's really what you want a crush to say to you at the end of the first date. And I think him and Sheila are gonna have some fun, Steve.
Oh, it ain't no fun if the homies can't get none. But that following year, 1997, Beavis and Butthead is airing season 7, episode 20, Bride of Butthead. Butthead orders a Russian mail order bride. Yeah.
Hey man, what kind of bride do you want? One that'll touch my wiener.
Okay, we have to get one of these out every summer. This it's like a mandatory. You gotta have a Beavis and Butthead episode at least once.
This is a good one too. I love this one. It's just right. You know what you're getting, and it's hilarious. And I do like the nostalgia of those like CD classifieds that they're looking at the beginning of it, where it's just like phone sex ads and just weird sex stuff that might be in the classifieds of a phone book. You know, because that was all we had.
Term paper assistance will do homework for you. I think this says ass.
But after they see a bunch stuff, some spicy looking stuff there. But then Butthead zeroes in on this Russian mail order bride sitch, and he gives it a call. And lo and behold, Steve, there's somebody on the other end of that phone. Um, he's taking the info. You know, you got to go through some paperwork. Instead of being known as Butthead, he's Mister Head to this
Yeah.
guy, which I thought was hilarious. And as the guy's talking to Butthead and they're trying to arrange something for him and just kind of figure out what the select should be, the guy gets a call from, he has to put him on hold. He cuts over, and one of the brides that he set up, Katya, um, is feeling a little bit salty about the setup that she got put into, Steve. I'm not happy with this, you
You
know.
pr- you promised me rich, handsome American man. And he's like, well, I have another rich American man for you. He's on the other line. His name is Mr. Head. And so he calls back to Butthead and he's like, Mr. Head, I found your wife.
She's
It's
on
like,
her way.
yeah.
I mean, you're gonna take a credit card, nothing. But Katya shows up, Steve, and I don't know what she was expecting, but Beavis and Butthead, man, I mean, it happened. They think everything's about to line up, and Butthead especially is like, "We're gonna have sex." You know, he's just ready for it. That's all he's expecting. It's a Russian mail order bride. You know,
Hey, Butthead, is that your wife? And also, like, they did a parody of November Rain when he's doing his like daydream of like how his marriage is going to be, and like he's basically Axl Rose. I thought that was hilarious. And yeah, when she,
oh, everybody needs some time with a Russian hooker. Katya, I want to pound you into bed. She's very like rough Russian, you know. But we that was funny. That was a very funny daydream he has. It's just it's beautiful, Steve. He's what did they say? Because it's not
I
like this is gonna be your wife. The guy, the the
the
priest is
freak,
like he's like
I Butthead do you with all my heart and soul and my wiener. This is going to be cool.
I promise to do you. That's all he says. So yeah, they're getting acquainted. Yeah, we cut away from the daydream, and Butthead's getting acquainted with Katya. A little awkward. He's just trying to get her to do it. She's not really happy about that, and she just goes into the kitchen just to call Moscow, Steve. And that's a big charge.
Yeah, but she doesn't care. Like it's like because Beavis or Butthead told her to go into another room, thinking she's about to like get ready to go to Bound Town, and so she's talking to Moscow. She's trying to get the hell out of there. And while that's going on, Stewart knocks on the door, and he's like, "Hey guys, you ever played Pogs before?" It's like,
Shut up, Stuart. I'm about to have sex. And I do like that when Katya goes into the kitchen, Beavis and Butthead are sitting there, and Butthead's like, "This is so cool. One day I'll be saying, 'Hey, wife, pull my wiener.'"
"Hey
But
Stewart."
Stewart's mind's boggled. He's like, "Wait, that's your wife?" And they're like, "Yeah, and we're gonna have sex." But you know, I don't know if Katya is really into it because when Butthead tries to like make a move or whatever it was, she's like, "If you touch me, I break every bone in body." You know, it's very Russian from Rocky Four, Steve. Butthead's onto it. He knows how to get out of the sitch. But I don't know. Katya's got a little bit of a beef with him, but not so much of a beef that she doesn't go to school with him the next day because Beavis and Butthead, we cut to them in school. They're having a convo, but then we realize um, that he's brought Katya to the class because the teacher's like, "Who is the Russian woman next to you, Butthead?"
This is my wife. You want to see her naked? She's like one of those made to order brides.
um. So yeah, I don't know what the legality of that is, but the teacher's pretty cool with it, and you know what? I'd be cool with it too, Steve. I'd be like, "What's that number, Butthead?"
But Katya, she's like, I'm not even married to this idiot, and I already want to divorce him.
Maybe that's why the teacher's cool with it. So as they're leaving, Katya's being a bitch. She's not being cool. But then what's his name? Todd, the local bad boy, shows up in his beater. And Katya is all about that. So she goes to rail Todd in the car, leaving Beavis and Butthead outside just to, talk about being married and married life. Because this is what it's all about, Steve.
Hey, Dowface, want to climb on in and hop on?
Oh, Todd. Oh, Todd. Maybe because she's having sex with Todd, like you guys are related now.
Yeah. Wait, like I thought, like if she was your wife, like she's not supposed to have sex with like other dudes.
I guess this marriage is like anal.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not even married. It's anal. And yeah, now he can let me in his gang.
I mean, they're basically related, Steve. They're Eskimo brothers, kind of. Not
Yeah.
really,
Well, not yeah.
in
No,
dreams.
in dreams.
But yeah, that's the curse, Steve. Butthead's just a nice guy.
And we finally get a music video. I thought because watching this on Paramount, they omit the music videos, but we do. We get Pantera, "This Love," and this is a great song. I admit I'm a Black Pantera fan, but they asked. Speaking of which, Beavis is like, I wonder if this Pantera guy was ever black. I don't know why.
I like the riff they get into about like the Pantera guy being a kid and his dad being an asshole. You treat your mother with some respect, Pantera, or you'll be sleeping in the streets.
Now get out there and mow that grass, or I'll kick your ass in next Tuesday. Whoa, Beavis.
I mean,
Whoa.
what is the video about though? Because they even say that, like, what the fuck is happening? And I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a lot of aggressive. It's just a guy being pissed off, and then maybe a hooker or something taking off her clothes. I don't know. There's just a lot of visuals, Steve. No story.
In the next video, I'm just as lost. The Murmurs with their song "You Suck."
Oh,
Is this
it's very apropos, Steve. This song is some trash.
is this a diaper commercial?
No, it's a douche commercial.
What is a douche anyway?
I don't know, but it's like when chicks are feeling not so fresh. I kind of wish I had a douche because I'm not always feeling fresh.
Maybe you should like wash your butt, and not just your butt, but your butthole.
But the murmurs, Steve, keep it at that because no one wants to hear this fucking shit.
I think I saw her boob. I wish they were here. I wish those girls were here right now, naked, and I touched their boobs. And this is that little wash your butthole. That was a nod to a Red Fox joke. I don't know if that was intentional, but yeah, that's one of his like more blue collar or blue humor lines from the 70s where he's like, "Why you need to wash your whole ass and wash your asshole too."
I thought it was an allusion to that Martin bit.
Well, a lot of
This
great
you.
bits are recycled.
This you. Either way. But that's it, Steve. That's what we got. I thought we were going to miss out on the videos too, so I was definitely happy to see that. But what a great episode! Just ordering a mail order bride. That's all you need. That's gold for Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, and that might be my next move, the way things go. But that same year, 1997, Nothing to Lose premieres. Advertising executive Nick Beam learns that his wife is sleeping with the employer. of his employer. In a state of despair, he encounters a bumbling thief, played by Martin Lawrence, whose attempted carjacking goes awry. When Nick takes him on an involuntary joyride, hilarity ensues. Directed by Steve Odekirk, starring Tim Robbins, Martin Lawrence, John C. McGinley, Giancarlo Esposito, Kelly Preston, and Michael McKean.
I gotta say, Steve, this was not one of my favorite Martin Lawrence vehicles, but it's a good movie. You
It
know,
has its moments.
because if I'm not mistaken, Tim Robbins realizes that he's made a mistake, that his wife wasn't cheating on him, and somehow I feel like they have to return stolen money to his boss and stuff. Like eventually, him and Martin, who are arguing most of the movie, become the best of friends. Steve,
Yeah,
you know.
that's how all friendships start, right?
But it's fun. But I'm a Martin purist. I'm a Martin fan of all of his movies. But I would put this even below a Black Knight, Steve.
Get the you lying. You this is cap. There's no way that is worse than Black Knight. You're
I
playing right
just
now.
wanted to see what you said. No, not Black Knight, but I think it's worse than National Security, and I will say that. National Security doesn't get a lot of props. Blue Streak's definitely better than this.
Yeah.
Even what's the worst thing that can happen is better than this. And then
With
there's
Danny
Bad Boys 1
DeVito?
and 2. Yeah, dude, that movie's great. Watch it. It's even got
I
Lake
did.
Rosamo. It's got Anna Gasteyer. It's got some other hottie who I forget who it was. She's sexy, but this, it's slow. That's my thing. It's a little slow for my taste. And Tim Robbins,
What you got against Tim Robbins?
he's in good stuff, but it's never him himself that makes the movie good.
You know what? I'm not even mad at that. I mean,
He's it
Shawshank,
right.
but like it's like you said, it's not really because of him. The story itself is interesting.
Jacob's Ladder, he's good in it, but the movie itself is a mindfuck movie, and it's more like everything happening and not just him. I mean, he's a great actor. I'm not
Don't want
no
to take that away from
no
him, but
props. No, I mean I'm giving him props, but I don't know. This movie especially, it didn't live up to the hype for me. As somebody who loved Martin, I remember even seeing it when it came out, like on DVD or VHS or whatever I saw it on, and just
yeah.
not being kind of like, nah, sorry.
I mean, the fact that Marty Marr is in it, he makes the movie. And I saw this in the theater, and I saw What's the Worst Thing That Can Happen. I saw both of those in the theater. And you do have a young Giancarlo Esposito. You do have John C. McGinley, and I feel like John C. McGinley, he's one of those guys who has been a chameleon. I feel like he's been a chameleon in some big budget blockbuster movies. He might be the guy on the second page of the cast, but he was there, and he was in
Yeah,
this, man.
I mean, he's been in a lot of like, he was in Platoon and stuff too. That guy's like
Exactly.
a hidden treasure. I mean, he was the best part about that show Scrubs too. I didn't even like that show, and he was good in that. So obviously, Office Space. You're right. He's like one of those like, I guess you'd call him a character actor, but he's just like that
Yeah.
all-star guy that you get to just back clean up and just like, if it's even 5 minutes, he makes the movie for you.
All
I
we need
didn't.
is a single.
I forgot he was in it, and I forgot Giancarlo was in it. So maybe I need to go back and watch this because maybe it's not as bad as I'm thinking. But I just remember just kind of being like meh about it, and I feel like I think widely that's accepted, Steve, because Martin's made a lot of great movies in his life. And this
Yeah.
just
I mean, maybe you need to take that trip back down memory lane because it's not bad, man. I mean, because it's got great character actors in it. It's got the guys that we mentioned, and plus Farmer Fran, Sean's dad in Boy Meets World, he's in it.
actually, and Rebecca Gayhart's in it too, a little
Rebecca
'90s
Gay.
hottie.
Oh yeah. Oh, those eyes. Oh man. Oh man. You get
And I
lost.
think if you see Steve Odenkirk too, that guy, he's famous. I think he's more of like a creator. And he made, remember that movie that they made in like the early 2000s called Kung Pao, where it was like a white guy that was in like a Asian movie, and it was all dubbed crazy and edited crazy. They had like kind of mixed a Asian movie in with like this guy doing green screen stuff. You've seen it. It was in my collection.
Okay.
It was kind of wacky. Um, but I think he actually he's involved with like a lot of Jim Carrey stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think he's a writer for Jim Carrey. I think he wrote for like I'm seeing it now. He wrote on Ace Ventura and When Nature Calls, Bruce Almighty. He directs stuff. He writes stuff, and it's usually like spoofy things. But I mean, this is great. I mean, I think for him, this was like sort of his probably more mainstream movie that wasn't like a complete spoof. This is an actual movie.
Yeah. Shout out to Nothing to Lose though, man. 1999, July 18th, Heat Wave 99 is airing on pay-per-view. And this is in Dayton, Ohio. This is ECW. Once again, another pay-per-view in Dayton in the summer, man. And ECW did this run that they have. This is kind of almost ending because just a month later in August, Dudley Boys, they would sign to WWE, and in the first match, a young Lita, she's a protege of one of the wrestlers in the first match, and I think she's like 24 at the time, but she would sign to WWE a month later and make history. To me, she's the GOAT female wrestler. I always loved how she was daring and willing to jump off the top rope and do like all these crazy like aerial moves and like
Was she with the
somersaults.
Hardy Boys?
She was with the Hardy Boys, man. Hall of Famer.
Hell yeah, Lita. She was cool for sure. She wasn't just eye candy. I didn't know
Yeah.
she was ever even affiliated with ECW. To be honest with you,
I think 4 months. It was a real short stint. This is her in the beginning stages, man, and she did a little ring work even in this pay-per-view, but it wasn't until she signed with Vince and them, man, that like she just lit the freak flag fly. But the main event was Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn, who I always thought was a cross between Val Venus and Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains. They're fighting Just Incredible and Lance Storm. Great match. It was 21 minutes, man. And Lance Storm, he doesn't get enough credit. I know you don't care for him because his ring gear is whack and you don't like his crew cut.
I'm just not a Lance Storm fan, Steve.
And you don't like his name. I think you said something about his name being bland.
It
Like,
is. It's generic. It sounds like something they'd name somebody on like a USA Up All Night movie.
yeah,
Lance
my wrestler.
Storm. Exactly. Custom
Like
character one.
like a 5-year-old. Oh, my wrestler's going to be Lance Storm.
I feel
But
like he had the same logic as Dirk Diggler. Like he just sat and thought about his name, and he's like, "I thought of it. Just a crack of lightning came to me, and then I heard thunder, and then I just saw it happen in lightning in front of me, Lance Storm." Everybody's like, "All right, dude,
yeah,
look like a fucking Wish.com guile."
in a way, in the Dudley Boys, their matches against Balls Mahoney and Spike Dudley. Balls Mahoney, this is one of the other things about watching this on Peacock. Back in the day, Balls Mahoney would come out to ACDC. We got the biggest balls of them all. And the crowd would chant that with them, like basically sing the whole song. And this match is gory as you would imagine. Anything with the Dudley Boys and ECW, you're going to see some blood gushing. And when it's Spike Dudley in the mix, you're going to see him thrown around like a rag doll. All of that happens. But the grand finale of this match, they set the tables on fire in Dayton, Ohio. Spike goes through those, and they tried to put Balls Mahoney on that, but Bubba Ray could not power bomb that heavy motherfucker. R.I.P. to Balls Mahoney.
Is Spike Dudley still alive?
Spike is still with us.
Because I saw a compilation of that was probably 20 minutes long of him just being annihilated in ring in a
Yeah,
variety of ways. And I mean, the punishment that guy could withstand, he's up there with Mankind. I saw things that
yeah.
I haven't even, because Mankind's a big dude. Spike Dudley's a guy, you can throw him like a dart.
He's
And like
bones.
some of the shit I saw, I think it was Kevin Nash maybe that did this, but like he's running maybe it was Vader. I don't remember, but somebody like catches him midair when he jumps and just like shifts him and throws him out of the ring all in one move, and he just falls into like a pile of tables or something. But just minute after minute of this guy getting power bombed in the most violent of ways, taking hits that would kill me. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's like I don't know if that's like an actual thing in wrestling that's like people like is taken notice of, but are there guys that are like that's their thing? Like they're just good at taking punishment like that. Because I feel like that
Yeah.
he didn't ever do anything else.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Mankind. Mankind would do other stuff, but he's notorious for that. Same thing with Spike. I'm sure I can name some others, man, but like, yeah, like that was always his thing. The guy that you might be thinking of is Bam Bam because they had a little rivalry for a while, and the
It was
infamous
somebody
clip,
big. Yeah, it was somebody
yeah,
huge.
Bam Bam like having him hoisted in the air and just throwing him into the crowd
Yeah.
from the
And
ring.
I mean, there's look it up. Look Spike Dudley compilation, and it's just going to be about 20 minutes of just him going through tables. I don't know if it was Brock Lesnar. I think maybe it was, but it was somebody that was just power bombing the shit out of him over and over again. Like, bam, picking him up, bam, picking him up. I think it was Brock Lesnar, but it's amazing. It's fun to watch. He makes it, I can't imagine it's fun to do, but damn it, he could look like he's getting his ass kicked.
And when it comes to ECW, the wrestling to me in this era has always been good. Whether or not someone moved to WWF, WCW, the people that they would keep and put in a pay per view, they would have good matches, man. You know, you still have Super Crazy. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a Mexican, one of those lucha libre guys. He always have entertaining matches. You still have the Dudley Boys at this point. You still have Taz. You still have Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn is kind of like a bizarro world Rob Van Dam. So when they would have a match together, man, it would always be magic.
Hell yeah, dude. I like it. I mean, ECW, did they ever really fall off? I mean,
It's just funds, I think, man. You know, big bank take little bank. And even if you have a great idea, a great promotion, great wrestlers, man, you're going up against Vince and you're going up against Ted Turner slash Warner Brothers. They own Superman and Batman. So best of luck with that, man. And it just felt like once Vince bought WCW, that was the writing on the wall because ECW was right around the corner. And you started off as you were basically like a startup company going up against like these entities that were already established with these household names, man. Something I also wanted to note, they're promoting their new show on TNN. They're about to go to cable now, that following month of that August. And the very first showing, Matt, want to guess where it was at? The first TNN ECW taping
Toledo, Ohio?
at the Seagate Center.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Hell
shout out
yeah. In history, Steve, the Glass City.
Glass City half full. And somebody who probably didn't watch Heat Wave 99 in 1999 is probably New York Yankees David Cone because he becomes the 15th pitcher to throw a perfect game, 6-0 versus Montreal.
David Cohn. David Cohn. Very sports broadcaster sounding, Steve. I like that.
Yeah, man, he's a G, right? Like, of course he won some World Series with the Yankees. He was a Cy Young Award winner, and I don't believe he's even a Hall of Famer yet.
Must be kind of hard. Damn.
Yeah, like what does it take, man? But he's one of those pitchers that, like, whenever I think of a Yankees pitcher, he's one of the first names I think of, and they've had some prolific pitchers.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you think he's up there in the top 10?
Of Yankees pitchers, for sure. Of all time pitchers, I can't say that. No,
Yeah.
there's just way too many, man. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or canker sores?
One thing I just saw, just real quick, Steve Odenkirk, who we were talking about with Nothing to Lose, he also helped write the screenplay for Nutty Professor. So pretty prolific behind the scenes. I thought that was pretty cool.
Hercules, Hercules.
There you go. But again, Steve, my mother and father are pack rats. They've been moving. So I'm getting my last little bundles of my stuff from their house after a visit. And I stumbled upon, there's a bunch of stuff. You're not going to really be able to see, but there's a Super Nintendo. They've kept that. I had a PlayStation. I got my Nintendo. I got a bunch of N64 stuff right here, too. Nice little Rumble pack, if you remember that.
I do.
Um, But what I want to show off is just a couple of things. One, I was huge into sporting collectibles when I was little, and you remember starting lineup figurines?
By Kenner.
Got a few of those. So I'm going to start with baseball. Found a couple of winners here. Somebody who is notable to me, maybe you don't remember him. A little known pitcher from the Pittsburgh Pirates. One Doug Drabeck, rocking the stash. I don't know if you remember him or not. Look him up. He was a pretty good pitcher. But I do know that you know this guy, Kirby Puckett,
Oh snap!
motherfucking Kirby Puckett over here.
3-4.
Yeah, so we got a couple of baseball ones. Then we're going into basketball because that was really what my bread and butter was. And the first one, Mr. Sean Kemp from the Sonics, dude.
The
Old
Rain
school.
Man?
Dude, it's right here. And then goated officially MJ Steve. And this is a good one too. I mean, these things are in mint condition. There's not, other than missing a box, these things are just looking cherry as hell. So these are going up on the shelf.
What version of MJ is that? Is there a little hair stubble on there, or is he all the way bald?
He's all the way bald, and this is stamped 1992 on it. So it's right in that sweet spot.
This is Bulls versus Blazers night.
And so I was really into that. But then, and this is going to change the look of my man cave that I have up in my attic significantly, Steve. I stumbled upon a whole folder of WCW wrestling posters that are double-sided. So I'm going to show you these one by one. It might take a second, but I just think you got to just comment on these. So first side,
Papa Shango.
Papa Shango, Steve. I'm trying to get this into...
Oh, these are WWF.
WWF. So Papa Shango on one side, and then the Ultimate Warrior on the other.
Oh, that is so hard.
So that's
that is
one.
so hard.
I'm trying not to damage these too much, because I want to put them up. The next one, not as happy with, but it's Cherry's nice British Bulldog.
British Bulldog. I know you're not. You're going to have that one against the wall.
But,
that side. Oh, that's the one. Yeah, and rightfully
LOD,
so.
Son.
Yeah, British Bulldog. I'm a fan, but you can't compete against LOD.
And especially in that victorious pose. Then this must have been like there's another Papa Shango on one side, Ultimate Warrior on the other side.
Oh man.
And then Steve, I mean, I think there's another wrestling, but this, yeah, I got another British Bulldog, and then I got to show this one, just because I'm not going to show the other British Bulldog, but
is that Rick?
This is Rick on one side. So I'll show you this one first. So Rick's Rude on this one, but then I turned it over, Steve, and this is a dream come true for me because we've talked about it a little bit, how much we love Rick Rude's customized pants that he gets.
Yeah.
This is a full Rick Rude poster that includes multiple selections of cool pants that he's had, including the Geisha Girl pants that I know we talked about.
Yes.
Yeah,
dude. Oh, that is so nasty.
So that's going up. But I wanted to show you, this is a time and place thing.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I loved the Ninja Turtles, right? I love them. And I went to see them live. They had like this live performance thing that they did in the early 90s where they would play like fake music and stuff.
I
as
remember.
A band.
Yep.
So I went to that, and I have the fucking poster, the Coming Out of Their Shells tour poster, Steve.
Now that needs to be in a frame.
It's going in a frame, and it has the words to the song Cowabunga on it, and it actually gives you sheet music to play it. So hopefully I can learn to play the piano and give you a rendition of Cowabunga. But, dude, I mean, this is crazy.
Yes.
Right?
All of that must go up. But what you gonna do, brother, when you gotta make a decision? As Cat Williams would say, make a Pippin decision. Is it Papa Shango or Ultimate Warrior for both of them?
Kendra doesn't like putting Papa Shango up, but it's like I get
Bad juju.
I guess, but I don't want to have all Ultimate Warrior up a bunch of times. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking use one of the Ultimate Warrior, use one with Papa Shango. The Rick Rude one, I mean, that might go up in my living room above one of my fireplaces because it's that crucial of a picture. So
Yeah.
I was just
Facts.
happy to see that. You know, it's nice to open up a big box of stuff, and it even smells like it all used to, Steve. It was still there. That 90s just effervescence, it was right there.
Smelling like 95.
Hell yeah. What about you, man?
I man, you know what? I want to give a shout out to the people who pass over the week. You know that they say it happens in threes, Matt. We just lost Richard Simmons, and I believe on the same day we lost Dr. Roof. Now we covered that episode of Quantum Leap where Dr. Roof, she made a cameo in that, man, and I think I commented that like she was in the war, she was she was in World War II, and she's lived a long life, man. I don't know if she made it to the century, but she was 90 plus, a long life, man, and a lot of memories. I wasn't watching her stuff as a kid, but I just remember her being like a pop cultural figure. And the same thing with Richard Simmons. And we covered an episode of with Howard Stern when Richard Simmons was on that, man. And speaking of episodes we covered, we just lost Shannon Doherty. And just in the last episode at the end, I was talking about how Brenda Walsh is a trash human being, and I still stand on that because it's a fictional character. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, she's a fictional guy. And I'm more of a Tiffany Amber Thiessen person, but yeah, man, R.I.P. to all of them. I didn't even know she had cancer, but yeah, man, that one caught me off guard. The first two, I was kind of like, oh, I've heard some things. It's only a matter of time. But yeah, Shannon Doherty. Yeah, man, all of y'all rest in paradise, rest in power. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister every freaking night and every freaking day. I want a freaking baby in every freaking way. Please check out Food Show Fanatics as well as Podcaster with Clark the Shark. This is Steve G and Mad G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the flat kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!